Now, JJ Redick, I need to understand. You're trying to tell me with that man, Kevin Durant, the Slim Reaper, easy money sniper, just and with Kyrie Irving, who is box office. Now, we're not going to talk about the vaccination status and all that, but it's box office. They couldn't get past the Miami Heat. Now, you know I love Miami, but the Miami Heat? Or let's just say it's the Philadelphia 76ers, where James Harden has not proven himself in the postseason?
Why were we not on camera? Why was it just him? Hold on, how you hit Heat on the high note in the box office? No, Stephen A., come on.
Don't do that.
Stephen A.,
She lost.
don't even try that.
Listen. It was. Hold on. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But she lost me with the No, I don't do that. That's number one. And when I say Miami, I usually don't say I say South Beach. She left that out.
That's true.
Okay?
That's
You don't say Miami. You say South Beach. All right? So those are the two things.
Okay.
But overall, not bad. Not bad.
No,
Monica,
it was
not
great.
bad.
Yeah.
I'll tighten up.
Yeah, she just did
I was
that.
watching while I was in the islands. I was watching while I was in the islands.
Yeah.
I was entertained. I must
Yeah.
confess.
He was
I
like box office check. I say that.
entertained.
Check. All right, I'm being told we got to
But
keep
you know what
going.
that means, right? You know what that means, right, Molly? You know what that
What?
means, right, Molly?
What?
Monica McNutt, there's an imitation of you coming soon.
Get it, Brick.
That would
We
be
know
fun.
you can act. Stephen A. is a thespian, too, so
Yes,
be careful.
yes, mhm.
All right, Monica. The Lakers have lost
Brick!
6
Brick!
straight. Yeah, I know Brick. I know about him. I watch him. Are now 11th in the West, barely hanging on for playing for tonight. They have a tough one, facing the team with the best record in the NBA. Last season's Western Conference champs, the Phoenix Suns. Anthony Davis frustrated with all the talk. He's missed 37 games this season, telling the LA Times, this is what I've learned about injuries. Last year when I wasn't playing, people were saying AD's given up on his team. It's the playoffs. AD has to play. He's got to play. And when I went out there to play, got hurt again, they said, who is this trainer? Who let him play? So what the bleep do you want me to do? When I play, it's a problem. It's a problem when I don't play. These aren't little ticky-tack injuries. Stephen A. Smith. Does Anthony Davis have a point, or is he missing it?
He's missing it. And I say that respectfully. I got a lot of love for Anthony Davis. I think he's a hell of a player. I think when healthy, he's in a conversation as one of the top 5 players in the world, clearly a top 10 player from a talent perspective. He's big time, all right? But he's injury prone. And the thing about it that he's missing, the Charles Barkleys of the world calling him street clothes and stuff like that, it might rake his nerves or whatever, but no one has ever said he can't play. No one has ever said he's not a star. What we've said is you're injury prone, and that happens to be factual. Now, these injuries this year are freak injuries. Could have happened to anybody. LeBron James pushing a player into the back of his legs inadvertently, that forced him to miss 10 games. Him coming down on Rudy Gobert's foot, that forced him to miss a month and a half. He's absolutely right. That could happen to anybody. The problem that Anthony Davis has to live with, that his wife, his family, his loved ones, his teammates, nobody can absolve him from, is that no one's labeled him that way because of this year. You have a history of repeatedly being injured. And after, the bubble play and what have you, you spent the offseason not getting in shape. You spent the offseason, according to the reports, getting yourself conditioned to avoid injuries. And you were unsuccessful in doing that too. And so as a result of it, folks are looking at you, not saying you can't play, not saying that you're not a star. We know there's no way in hell that if Anthony Davis is 100%, that the Lakers are 16 games under 500. We know better, okay? Because he's too great for something like that to happen. But those injuries do matter. And when a guy is your teammate, who's considered the second greatest player who ever played the game, who is 37 years of age in his 19th season, and even though he's had some injuries, is still healthier than you at 37 in his 19th year in the league. He has still missed less games than you, and he desperately needed you in order to win. You're going to have people that look at you and just say, damn. It ain't because they don't respect you. It ain't because they don't respect your greatness. It's because they know how great you are. And they know if you were available, we wouldn't look at the Lakers as the horror show that they have been this year. It's that simple. And that's not something to go home about or be upset about and throw and complain about. It's something that you have to accept because you can't stay healthy, even though it's not your fault.
You know, it's interesting when you speak of AD and you speak of the injuries to me, because his injuries aren't soft tissue injuries. He's not running down the court all of a sudden straining his hamstring, tearing the meat off his quad bone, nothing like that. It's like freak accidents. My biggest problem with him being a Laker fan and just being a fan of basketball and sports in general, especially a Laker fan, you know how I feel about that, is I want to see him play, period. I've had injuries in football, and I've been around football players that had catastrophic injuries, but somehow they figured out how to still get back on the field. And so that's my only thing. Who is your physical therapist trainer? Who gives you the PT that you need? What are they doing to get you back on the court? I understand what he said in his quote. Who's his trainer? Damned if I do, damned if I don't. What am I going to be able to do? Do something, though. I don't know what the something is, but when you have an ankle sprain, a little knee, all of a sudden an MCL sprain, a little shoulder sprain, go get the necessary treatment. If it takes 24 hours, 7 days a week to get it, I've seen it done. It's not him quitting on his team. There's none of that, Monica. Nothing at all whatsoever, Stephen A., about quitting on your team. It's about the will. Magic Johnson was on my radio show yesterday, and he said Anthony Davis is going to still be in this situation until he decides that he wants to do it. And that's what I take from that.
It's interesting, y'all, because I was struck by sort of the acknowledgement of the noise by this quote, right? He feels that he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. That's an excellent synopsis key. But to me, you are listening to people, and only you know what is happening in your body. The machine, this conversation, this show, radio shows, Key's radio show, is never going to stop. But to your point, Stephen A., no one has ever questioned his talent when he is healthy. So just to bring all of this back home, to me, I do not understand why he's on the court right now. I understand he had a great game the other day, but the idea to me that this Lakers team is going to probably look pretty similar, at least AD and LeBron James, we probably can bet on will be back next year. Why not take the opportunity to get healthy for next year because of your injury history? To me, that would have been the smartest play moving forward. But you got to ultimately, as a player, and every player knows this, you got to do what works best for you because the conversation around you is never going to end.
Right. But Monica, let's not get it twisted. Anthony Davis is listening to the noise because he knows the noise ain't just about this year. He can sit up there and give quotes to the LA Times all he wants to about it being about this year. When you're talking about Anthony Davis and his injuries, you ain't talking about this year. Right. You're talking about historically injured individual. And there have been reports that have questioned what he's doing in the offseason, as is the case with a lot of these players. What people are looking at, Keyshawn and Monica, you know they're in the gym. You know they're working out. But some dudes need to actually be working on their game, and other dudes need to be working on strengthening themselves to make sure they can endure the grueling 82-game schedule and beyond that they know are forthcoming. If you are an audience, a crowd, here's what you can say to the players, because evidently a lot of them are not hearing this. When we pay our money to walk through the turnstiles, to watch you play, shouldn't we have an expectation that we're going to see you on the court? You have players today that walk around and act like they don't have the right to have that expectation. And that's what's most alarming. At some point in time, rather than being mad at everybody else, when are you going to sit up there and go like this? You know what, Keyshawn, you know what all Anthony Davis had to do? Because, again, I love the brother. Anthony Davis is a good brother, man, and a great player. Let me tell you something. This is all Anthony Davis had to do. Damn. I can't stay healthy. This is driving me crazy.
But see, Stephen A.,
I'm doing everything I can. That's all he had to do.
Tissue, though.
That's all he had to do.
But if it was soft tissue, then I would say it's the off-season conditioning and working out. It's the stepping on the foot of another player, twisting an ankle. It's the bumping of
but that's
a
just
player's knee. No, but that's why he's missing. It's not soft tissue. If it was soft tissue, then I would worry about him bulking up and looking like LeBron James. And if that was the issue, it's freak accidents that he's not coming back from.
But the recovery
that's
time,
what it is.
The recovery time doesn't concern you, Keith. Like, I guess that's the next iteration. Like, some guys bounce back from a rolled ankle or a bump knee quicker, and we know that when AD gets a nick, it's not a nick. To his point, they are real injuries. It just he's down for the count for a minute.
I mean,
I know
They
we
got
gotta
you
go.
again.
no, she made me laugh.
Key, they got you again.
She made me laugh because she
Stephen
said
A.
he's down
Irvin,
for the
Monica.
count, and I was watching the game a while ago, and he hit the deck, and I was like,
I'm saying, you literally be
man,
like,
here we
oh no,
go.
oh no, please no.
Monica,
Oh.
you got him. It's all good.
Thanks, Molly.
It's all good. We'll leave it there. The last time the Lakers made the playoffs with a below 500 record, it was 30 years ago. We will keep it rolling. Monica, thank you so much for being here. We're talking about practice championships. It's Tiger Woods. All eyes on the 5-time Masters champion during Monday's practice rounds. The 15-time major champion hasn't played in a PGA Tour event in more than 17 months after suffering serious injuries in a February 2021 car wreck. He told reporters in December that doctors nearly amputated his right leg during his practice round with Justin Thomas and Fred Couples on Monday. The threesome played the first 9 holes in a little more than 2.5 hours. Now, this is a special treat because I'm used to seeing the one and only Scott Van Pelt only in the evenings, late night, making me laugh, gracing our television. But we have him in the morning. SVP live from Augusta. Thank you so much for being with us.
Listen, I'm grateful to do it, and after this, Stephen A., you still have me in your pocket for at least like 20 more of these. You've been on and been so gracious so often through the years during the playoffs, so I'm happy to be with you this morning, especially from down here and especially with Tiger out here looking like he's getting ready to play.
Yeah, Scott, talk to me. What's the significance of Tiger's return? What's the atmosphere like down there?
It's insane. It's really, really hard to explain. On a Monday, I was standing under, there's an oak tree that's behind the clubhouse here that's sort of the spot. You meet people at the tree, and I was standing there when Tiger came up 9 in the afternoon after finishing his practice round. And look, it's been said for years that Tiger doesn't move the needle. He is the needle. And watching the people that were there react to him, his presence, as if it were a weekend and he was in contention on a Monday. And there's a lot that went into that. Just like, Molly, you were talking about with the fans in the stands at the Final Four, how that atmosphere in New Orleans, so great to see that. It's fantastic to see so many of the patrons here because in the past couple of years we haven't had that. So you combine people who haven't been here for a while with Tiger, who is here for the first time competing in over a year since that accident, and the atmosphere and the excitement on a Monday. I mean, look, we're in the business of hyperbole. I wouldn't lie to y'all. I've never seen it like that on a Monday. I've never heard it like that on a Monday. And we're going to hear him here at the top of the hour, and maybe we'll get a little more clarity. I can't believe he came here to mess around and practice. I believe he came here to play, and that's the excitement that's really building. Is that, wow, this is really going to happen, and that's something I wouldn't have thought was possible just a couple of weeks ago.
SVP, Mr. Phenomenal, that's what I call you, my man, because of the job that you do for us on SportsCenter every night, obviously, and the job that you've done for years covering the Masters. I ask you this question in all sincerity. How surprised are you that Tiger looks like he's going to participate in these Masters? And more importantly, do you believe, based on your level of expertise covering the sport of golf the way that you do, that this is the right time for him to come back and play?
First of all, am I surprised? I'm not surprised. I'm legitimately shocked. And I mean, I've known this young man. Well, none of us are young anymore. I've known him since he was a young man, Stephen A. And throughout his career, we've seen him come back from surgeries on his knee and multiple surgeries on his back, and that was surprising. The man won in 19 with a fused back. Okay, doesn't happen. But this was an entirely different deal. He nearly lost his leg. There were concerns initially he might lose his life. So the fact that he's competing here is shocking to me, because not that long ago he was saying, look, I have to practice. I just haven't been able to do that. This golf course is incredibly hilly. hilly. I just don't know if I can do it. And so I thought, okay, there's no rush. You're a 5-time champion. You can come back next year. Get healthy. But the fact that he's here now is legitimately shocking. And as far as the right time, when it comes to competitors, there have been very few in our careers and over the span of our careers that I think have a level of want to in terms of competing like Tiger Woods. And so at this tournament where he won for the first time when he was a very young man in 1997 and where he's won, again for the last time in the major stage in 19, if there's any place that would get his competitive juices flowing to try, it's this place. And so if he feels like he can go and he feels like it's the right time, then I step back and say the tee is yours, and we all look forward to seeing what he can do. But it's legitimately shocking to me and a lot of folks close to him, Stephen A., that this is happening. And, he told me a million years ago, never bet against me. I get it. But I wouldn't have put $1 on him playing in February, and now here we are on Tuesday thinking this is going to happen.
SVP, last question real quick before we let you get on out of here, man. I asked this question yesterday to Michael Collins, and I'll pose it to you. When you see his contemporaries in the world of sport, obviously everybody is incredibly happy to see him back and healthy and alive because, my God, he almost got killed in that car accident. But this is the first time, I believe, that Tiger Woods has ever been in a position where he's playing with house money. There's nothing he can do wrong. The fact that he's on the course, if he chooses to play in these Masters, the fact that he'll be on the course playing in the Masters is enough. It will be the first time that I can recall in the career of Tiger Woods, maybe with the exception of his rookie year, is when there was no pressure on him whatsoever. Do you believe that as well?
You think that, and I think that. But does he think that? See, that he's just not wired that way. I believe, Stephen A., if he tees off Thursday, that is a win. That legitimate win. He nearly lost his leg. If he's out here competing in the Masters, it's a win. And by the way, let's be honest here. It's a win for us. Coverage on ESPN and ESPN Plus all morning long. It's a win for everybody. But in his mind, is that a win? I don't think it is. And again, we'll hear him top of the hour here. Does he say, hey, I'm just excited to show up? Not once in his life, not never, has he ever looked at a win just to compete. I think part of him has to see that. He has to know at 46, like, this is a win if I'm playing. But does he truly believe he can compete? He's always said he'll only play if he thinks he can win. So I don't know that he thinks that. I guess we'll find out our answer on that question here very shortly.
Yeah. The resolve, the resiliency, SVP, beyond inspiring. Tiger doesn't move the needle. He is the needle. I love that quote you gave us. Do me a favor. Say hi to Stanford Steve for me, will you?
You got it. When he gets back from New Orleans, he's the world's guest. He's traveling the world. I am too, and I appreciate y'all having me in this morning.
Out there in New Orleans, living his best life. I saw those crowds. All right, tell him to stay safe then. All right, enjoy all of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To the NFL, the Seahawks, Pete Carroll called out NFL owners on the subject of minority candidates. He spoke for about 10 minutes during a meeting of GMs and coaches in Florida last week, saying the hiring of minority candidates won't improve until owners accept there are candidates out there different than themselves. Schefter reported on his podcast. Schefter also reported that owners weren't happy when they learned of Carroll's comments. Keyshawn Johnson back here with us. Key, I'll start with you. Your reaction to what Pete Carroll had to say.
Well, first of all, Molly, he's right. And I've always said this, and I'm going to continue to say it. Until the owners are actually comfortable with people that don't look like them, don't run in their circles, we're going to always have these problems. And I ask both you and Stephen A. really quickly, how many of the 32 owners, families, and groups do you think legitimately they have minority friends? Not just black friends, not people that work in their homes, not people that work within their organizations, but people that they grew up with, that they deal with on a daily basis, that they go to dinner with, that they go have cocktails with, that they go have cigars with, that actually fly on their planes. How many? How many do we really think? And until they can come to realization that that is an issue and a problem, they're going to always have a problem looking at people and saying, I can trust them to run my organization even though they don't look like me. Pete Carroll's not saying anything different than what I already believe or even to the fact what I already know.
first order of business would be to answer your question. And the question is, it depends on what their definition of friends really are. Because as you know, Key, and you know that I know this as well, you know, there are people who look different than us that are in positions of influence and what have you. And what happens is that they are cool with you, they befriend you, they're tight with you until you're perceived as being an equal on their level in some capacity. And then you find out they feel a little differently about you because they don't like the fact that you're viewed on their level. If not, at least on their level. Let's just leave it at that. So again, their definition of friendship might be a bit skewed because it's different than what you or I would call a friend. Having said all of that, I totally agree with you about Pete Carroll in terms of what he is saying and him being absolutely right. But I'm not letting Pete Carroll off the hook here. Pete Carroll is one of the few coaches in the National Football League that has had some degree of control. Sure, there is a GM, but we all know Pete Carroll is Pete Carroll. And we know that he's had significant influence. And when he talks about some of these things, I would remind you that Pete Carroll pays attention because he's been connected to the National Football League for the better part of the last quarter century. What has Pete Carroll done? Yes, he's had black individuals that were defensive coordinators, but he also saw the trend of white offensive coordinators usually getting picked up and granted head coaching opportunities. How many black offensive coordinators has Pete Carroll had? How many people has he put in that position? I think there's a legitimate question as it pertains to that when it comes to him. Yes, he says the right things, but what he actually does, I believe, is a question mark. And I like Pete Carroll, but I think it's important to point that out. The level of consistency as it pertains to his words and his actions, I think there are people out there who would challenge that when it comes to him, especially since it's him. If you're some coach devoid of power and influence and your job is to coach the team and you don't really have a voice and a say and you can't make change happen, that would be different. That was not the case with Pete Carroll. But nevertheless, we see some of the same stuff that he's talking about actually had gone on in Seattle under his watch. And so I think that's important to point out.
Well, look, Stephen, here's what I'm going to say to you. And I'm going to push back on Coach Carroll, somebody that I've been knowing for a very, very long time, on what you're saying about hiring minorities. He has hired a number of minorities on his coaching staff. Just recently, he fired, obviously, Kennard Jr. not doing the thing that he was supposed to do defensive coordinator-wise. Prior to that, Chris Richard. Sure. Then also special team coordinator-wise, minority in Chad Morton. So he has practiced what he preached. On top of that, he's given opportunities to minorities on the football field that other teams would not sign, would not draft for different reasons that they've gone through in their careers, whether it was in college or whether it was in the pros. He's taken an opportunity and done that. Now, as far as the offensive coordinators go, there aren't not a lot of black offensive coordinators in the National Football League or college that actually call plays for that matter. So what you are asking Pete to do now is do what most white coaches would do, give somebody an opportunity that they trust. Now, secondly, there are very few quarterback coaches in the National Football League, okay? Usually the coordinators or quarterback coaches get elevated to coordinator. Or there's offensive line coaches, very few offensive line coaches that get elevated to coordinators. There aren't very many black offensive line coaches. It's typically a running back coach or a receiver coach. And for the most part, the receiver coach and the running back coach are underneath the quarterback coach in terms of responsibility. So until he kicks one of those dudes to a quarterback coach, he's probably not going to have a black offensive coordinator. And I can understand that. I get it. That's the way that they do business within their offenses. Is it right? No, it's not. But also, I need my black coaches that's out there, that's receiver coaches and running back coaches, to stop being lifers at that position.
Okay, hold on for a second. First of all, let's make sure that we clarify what my position is. I didn't disagree with you. I didn't fail to acknowledge that Pete Carroll hasn't hired minorities. I specifically pointed that out. I recognize that. I was talking about on the offensive side of the ball.
And that's why I pointed. I started with the defense. I started with the defense and then went to the offense.
But let me say this. I'm aware that Pete Carroll has hired minorities. I'm aware that Pete Carroll has spoken out. I too have spoken to Pete Carroll on several occasions and genuinely like the man. All I'm trying to say to you, however, is this: the very change he's talking about, he's had the power to initiate. Now, obviously, it would deviate from the norm. It would call upon him to take steps that the typical white coach is not known to take, which is something that we can talk about extensively in the days, the weeks, and the months to come. But there's nobody's trying to throw shade on Pete Carroll in terms of his relationship with minorities and his willingness to hire them. I'm only speaking about the change he's talking about needs to be incorporated. It's not like he's some innocent Andy there that doesn't have the power to initiate some of it. He has had the power to initiate some of it.
He does
now, the
have,
culture,
he,
hold on.
He does have some power.
The culture that you're talking about. The culture that you're talking about, when you're talking about receiver coaches, running back coaches, and the like, and not being lifers at their position. Well, the fact of the matter is, Keyshawn, let's be fair to them. These individuals might not want to be lifers. They might not have a choice because they might not be given an option of going elsewhere. Look at Eric Bieniemy as an offensive coordinator. This is a man that's a Super Bowl champion, went to two straight Super Bowls, went to 4 straight AFC championship games, can't get a head coaching job. But you had the Houston Texans before we raised hell that was ready to hire a dude that never coached in college or the NFL but was coaching high schools. And he was more in consideration of a head coaching job than Eric Bieniemy. There's a culture that exists in the National Football League that black men are detrimentally affected by when they're not in positions of power. I'm saying Pete Carroll is one of those individuals that has the power to initiate the very change he's talking about. It's one thing to hire a whole bunch of minorities, which he has done and deserves credit for, but the change he specifically spoke about, he has the influence to initiate. And it hasn't happened where he's concerned. And that's what I'm saying.
Well, I think you're right, Stephen. He does have the power to do it. But it also has to be an opening. John Snyder's the general manager. You can't remove John Snyder. Now, if John Snyder would have left and went to Minnesota, it would have put Pete Carroll in a much better position to hire somebody to become the general manager. So you already got people filling that vacancy is what I'm saying. So it's a little hard for him to just all of a sudden start to say, okay, I'm going to start moving my staff around in the front office and start hiring people. He's the head coach, so it ain't like he can't hire the head coach. The Houston Texans were put in a position to hire a black head coach, but until, like you said, we started raising hell, and it spooked them to the point that they kind of went back and decided, okay, we're not going to hire Josh McCown. We're going to hire Lovie Smith instead. They're the ones
I feel you on that, Keith, but why you acting like Pete Carroll just arrived last year? He been there a long time. He was there long enough to hire 2 of his children. I'm saying he had 2 of his children on staff.
But that's going to happen, Stephen. Ain't this
right, I'm just saying.
I'm going to hire my damn kids if I was put in a position of power.
I'm not mad, but I'm just saying.
Stephen A. had to bring up the kids.
Hold on, Molly.
Yeah, and then there's 2 things I want to get to.
I'm just saying, all I'm saying, hold on, Molly. I'm simply saying, Key, wait a minute, Key and Molly. All I'm trying to say is this. Don't tell me that the Snyder's there as the GM and he can't do certain things, but he can make sure he got 2 of his kids on the staff.
But that's at the lower level, though. We don't want to be at the lower level. Stephen A., we don't want to be at the lower level. We're trying to get kicked up.
Okay. But it is what it is.
Hell, we already at the bottom.
I know we're focused on Pete Carroll, but the quote that really stood out to me from Adam Schefter is that the owners were
what
miffed.
I'm saying.
I get it.
I'm trying to get there with you.
You guys are focused on Pete, but the owners were upset with Pete Carroll even bringing it up. I think that's the bigger.
Of course they're going to be upset, Molly.
Issue.
A handful of them going to be upset because Pete Carroll's putting them on notice in the public eye. So there's going to be a handful of them that feel a certain way.
Okay, so Keyshawn, let me ask you this: are you encouraged?
Totally, and we don't care.
Are you encouraged by? I know neither of you do for sure. Are you encouraged by the minority hirings thus far?
I mean, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. You know, you always want to say, I anticipate it's going to get better. I like the fact that what Tampa Bay did. I like that Bruce Arians stepping down and Todd Bowles getting a second opportunity, and then Byron Leftwich probably next year. I like the fact that the Houston Texans, as Stephen A. astutely pointed out, got spooked. At least that's what it seems like to us. and they decided to not hire Josh McCown, instead hire Lovie Smith. So I feel okay with that. I mean, I think so. I'm okay with that. Mike McDaniel of the Miami Dolphins, I mean, you know, I don't even know what to make of that because he says one thing 1 minute, says something else another. And I like the fact that we always talk about minorities, but it's all really about blacks. Let's be honest and real here. It ain't about the minority portion of it, because Ron Rivera been a coach for a while, okay? Robert Saleh is a minority who just got to be a New York Jets coach a year ago. We talking about blacks, people that look like me and Stephen A. That's our issue.
No question about it. I couldn't agree with Keyshawn more. The only thing that I would add to buffer Keyshawn's point even more is that in the year 2022, we just saw the latest modification to the Rooney Rule. And that is that you had to have a minority, you know, you had to hire a minority. That's basically what's going on right now, and it's including women along with some other minorities as well to make sure that's been addressed. Why are you enforcing it? Because it's been ignored for far too long. And the only last point that I'd make is this. I appreciate Keyshawn talking about it. We're talking about black men here. I'm a black man. Keyshawn's a black man. We understand the plight of black coaches in the National Football League and obviously in college football as well for a very, very long time. And just years ago when affirmative action was instituted, the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action has been women. It hasn't been black men. People need to remember that. I'm giving you facts. I ain't giving you emotion. Anybody knows that. And so when they talk about, well, you know what, we want to address this and we want to address the issue of minority hires and whatever, anytime we hear something other than black men get discouraged because we know that still means we out of the mix, no matter how they slice it. And history has proven we're correct in our assertions.
Absolutely. That's fair. I'll just wrap it up by saying Stephen A. brought the receipts, though, that Pete Carroll hired his children. Oh, boy. Still ahead on First Take, Tiger Woods scheduled to speak from Augusta. We will be bringing you that live coverage from that brutal car accident that required many surgeries and nearly resulted in doctors amputating his leg. Woods had previously said he's a game-time decision for Augusta. In the meantime, the man who is down there covering it all, our golf analyst, there he is, Michael Collins. Michael, so good to have you with us. What is the atmosphere right now around Tiger?
The atmosphere has been absolutely amazing. Scott Van Pelt and I were just talking about it. We had never seen this many people at the golf course on a Monday or even on a Tuesday just to follow Tiger around. But as we're talking, I don't know if you can hear it in the background, an announcement is being made. A big siren went off here on the golf course. The course has been cleared. The players are taken off of the practice area, taken off of the golf course, and the patrons have been asked to leave the golf course premises. Everything's been shut down because of the dangerous weather that's coming. That being said, the people that were out here and got to see Tiger Woods were buzzing. I've never had so many people, Molly, come up to me and go, do you think Tiger's going to play? And they didn't even wait for me to answer. They were like, he's going to play. Oh, he's going to play. Of course, he's got to play, right? I mean, it's Tiger. He's going to play. Look at him. He looks great.
Yeah. Stephen A., before you jump in here, let me just piggyback on that because you brought up the weather. What implications could that have on Tiger's decision Thursday?
I can tell you already in the morning here, it's been very brisk. When I do SportsCenter in the morning, you can actually see your breath, and everyone has on long sleeves jackets and they have on long pants. The front that's scheduled to come through is not going to bring warm weather. It is bringing very cold weather. So you're talking about upwards of 2 inches of rain, and now temperatures that Saturday morning are forecast around 40 degrees. Now, that is not good for a guy like Tiger Woods, who walks gingerly and now is all worried about, stamina. Well, walking on a soft golf course is so much different and so much harder than walking on a course that's firm and fast like Augusta National normally is. It could actually be a little dangerous walking down a hill like the par 3/6. He's going to have to be extremely careful, and it definitely changes things for him.
Michael Collins, well, first of all, even though I don't play golf, I can relate because I can't stand cold weather, so that doesn't sound good. But let me ask you this question, Michael. I mean, with that being said, I got to ask you, how was Tiger looking before his accident, and what are the expectations now? I understand no one's seen him play, but just talking to Tiger, watching him practice, et cetera, what are the expectations now compared to what we saw before that near-fatal car accident?
So before the near-fatal car accident, his game was not all that great. I mean, when we saw him play, it was in cold weather, and you could tell his back was bothering him. And Tiger talks about that all the time, that when it came to his back, which he's had 5 surgeries on, that weather dictated sometimes whether or not he was going to even be able to play. Now you throw that near-fatal car accident into it and him almost losing a limb. And the fact that he's able to come back from that and even walk was phenomenal. Then when he decided he was going to play in the father-son, everyone thought to themselves, you know what? If that's the only thing we see Tiger do, cool. But, of course, he hits it really good. Him and Charlie put themselves in position to win coming down the stretch on Sunday, and Tiger is striping it. Now, you can see he's not comfortable. But a guy like Matt Kuchar says Tiger's ball striking's there right now. He could go play. And, of course, Tiger's the one who has to tell Kuchar and everybody else, pump the brakes. I can't even walk a full 18 right now. Well, that was late November. And here we are, early in April, and Tiger Woods has come up here, walked the full 18 holes with shoes that now aren't Nike, but that he needs for that comfort and stamina. And he's walked 9 on Sunday. He walked 9 today, and it looks like he's gearing up to play. So his game actually looks better now than it did before the car accident, which is crazy to say, but it's true.
Uncle Phil, what's happening?
You know, Antonio Ribeiro told me the same thing, that if they do a real remake with all the old cast, that I got to play Uncle Phil. But that dude was 6'7". I don't know how I'm going to pull off 6'7".
No, they won't know. So when we were out at Genesis around Tiger prior to the accident, his body looked totally different. Now I'm looking at him, and he looks like Tiger of 15 years ago. Will that help him at all if he decides to play and walk them 72?
Yeah, big time. And Key, you're exactly right. So a few years ago, we saw Tiger get yoked, like he got jacked, which is great if you want to be jacked up. But if you want to walk 18 holes on a bad leg, maybe putting extra muscle weight on isn't the way to do it if stamina is what you're looking for. So Tiger has definitely leaned down just a little bit. He's not nearly as, his upper body isn't nearly as jacked as it once was, and that will help him moving forward, you know, because it's going to give him the opportunity to have more stamina because he's not carrying the same amount of weight around, and also then he's putting less stress. With all that muscularity that he had, one of the problems was when you get big, you want to swing at a little bit harder because you're stronger. But that's also when injuries occur, and that's not what someone with a back injury wants to do.
Michael, I know even just walking is a miracle. When we were talking about he almost had his right leg amputated, but what would constitute a success for him here if he does indeed play, which we hope to hear in mere moments when he takes the podium?
All right, are you asking, Molly, me and the fans?
I'm
asking, or are you asking
no, I'm
Tiger?
I'm asking Michael Collins. You could give me Tiger after, but I want to know from Michael Collins what would be a success on Thursday and the entire Masters?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and I'll give you, we already know what Tiger's answer is going to be, and I'll tell you that when I tell you what I think.
Okay.
I think for me, success for Tiger Woods is playing 2 rounds. If he walks 18 holes on Thursday and 18 holes on Friday, I don't even care if he makes the cut. Because the fact that he did it here and could do it and get through it and be okay after the fact, that means we're going to get to see Tiger Woods at more tournaments. That means for us, we get to see him put more work in and know that he's going to probably, because it's Tiger Woods, put himself in position to contend sometimes in the future. Now, what Tiger's going to tell you is, I can win. Right. Success is only if I win right now. I ain't here for second place. I'm here to win. Yeah, okay, all right, you're here to win. I know. You're here to win. That's what you always say. But, of course, it's Tiger. And you're going to doubt him? Like, yeah, you're not going to win. And then he's going to win.
That attitude that got him here. Stephen A?
Michael Collins, Mike Collins, I'm of this mindset, man. Listen, the majors. As far as I'm concerned, all these PGA, tournaments and all. I mean, hell with all of that. I mean, if you're Tiger Woods at 46 years of age, you're about to be 47. All right, you've got 5 Masters on your docket. Okay, you've captured 15 majors. I mean, there's other than chasing Jack Nicklaus. There's nothing else to prove. If I'm him, that's the only thing I participate in. You might see me 4 times a year. What are your thoughts about that? I don't think he should be doing more than that.
No, he's going to do more than that, but not much more. Yes, the 4 majors are important, but even Tiger will tell you, like, you got to get competitive reps in. Just because your competitive juices are flowing, for Tiger, this tournament, the Masters, it's the only one that stays at the same place. So remember, all those other majors, they all go to different golf courses. So it's not like Tiger can just show up and be like, oh, yeah, I got this one figured out. Yeah, no, you don't. And he's got a little tournament called the Genesis Invitational on the PGA Tour that benefits his foundation that he might want to show up at, and go play because he knows the eyeballs that it'll bring there. So I think, fair enough, if we're being completely honest, if we saw Tiger Woods play 7 tournaments a year, maybe 8, that would be a win. That would be huge. If he played all 4 majors and 3 to 4 tournaments kind of around the majors, that would be fantastic. But let's be honest. Having Tiger Woods here, being able to see him play at the PNC father-son with Charlie, like, Tiger don't owe us nothing. Nothing. He doesn't owe us nothing. So the fact that we get to see him play with Charlie in the tournament, that for us should have been a win right there. The rest of all of this is icing with a cherry.
Michael, you mentioned that Tiger obviously changed some of his equipment, most notably his shoes from Nike to, I think it's, FootJoy. Yeah, FootJoy. And so outside of the shoes, because of the surface, what other equipment do you think Tiger's changed?
No, I don't think he changed anything. He's still got a tailor-made golf bag with all tailor-made clubs in there. And watching him out on the golf course, he's got new wedges in the bag, but that's kind of his MO. He's got wedges that he goes through all the time. And you want fresh wedges here at Augusta because you need to be able to spin the ball to control it around the greens and hit chips and whatnot when you're out here. So for him, controlling is going to be the big deal, especially at the Masters. You don't short-side yourself, be in a good position, and if you're out of position, your wedges better be dialed in. So equipment-wise, he hasn't changed anything. But those shoes were a big deal. It was a big deal that he played a practice round in FootJoys, and he's wearing FootJoys again today. So, he has his own line of shoes out there, but those FootJoys that he has probably, I'm speculating now, but probably the orthotics that he's going to be wearing fit better into those FootJoys, and that flat, hard surface bottom gives him more stability than a shoe like a running shoe or a sneaker would.
Yeah, of course, because he's been synonymous with Nike for all these years. Let me ask you this, Michael. What
They're just as excited as the patron are. That's what's so funny. I can't tell you how many guys are going, I can't believe Tiger's here and I can't believe he's playing. I mean, imagine if this is your first Masters and you thought to yourself originally coming in that, yeah, I'm going to get to play the Masters and it's going to be awesome and it'll be great for my family and everything. And now you're thinking to yourself, not only am I playing the Masters, but I'm playing in the Masters where Tiger's making his comeback from that accident. It takes it historically to a new level. So the buzz around the players has been phenomenal. And you can see it. When Tiger's on the driving range or in the chipping area, I can't tell you how many guys are walking over saying what's up to him, and everybody's got huge smiles on their faces.
Stephen A., I actually have a question for you.
Michael, let me ask you.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Stephen A.
I want to ask Michael real quick. We know golf is going to continue like any sport would, and we know how big of a plus Tiger Woods is to the game. But at this stage and point, covering golf the way that you do, does golf need Tiger right now?
No. It doesn't. Golf doesn't need Tiger. Like, no sport needs one person. Is a sport better when they have one person that is so polarizing in both directions and has done so much for the game? Does it help to have him around? Absolutely. Absolutely. It means the world to have Tiger around. But does golf continue without Tiger Woods, and has it when he's been hurt before? Yeah. Would golf have to continue if he didn't come back ever again? Yeah. Is the talent that's out here on the PGA Tour now enough to sustain and maybe gain some new fans? Look, we saw what happened with the little feud between Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau. That got some new eyeballs out here as well. I mean, with Tiger Woods, we had one guy who changed everything and had eyeballs and was polarizing, and people who hated him would watch. You know, right now, there ain't nobody out here that people hate on the PGA Tour. It's like, yo, put it on because I want to see this dude because I hate him so bad I want to watch him lose, right? Like, Tiger brought all of that out here. But if Tiger went away and never played again, would golf survive and would it thrive? Yes, it would. And trust me, Tiger, you know Stephen A. Tiger's my boy, man. And it's not a comfortable thing for me to say, but that's the truth.
But Mike, Tiger was there before Tiger. Golf was there before Tiger, and golf is going to be there after Tiger. No question about it. But you getting ready to tell me that golf is not better when Tiger Woods is there, and golf doesn't need a Tiger Woods? Because somebody like me,
I didn't say it was
past
better.
The TV, man. I'm not even paying attention at all.
Calm down. Key, I did not say golf was better. I didn't say it was better. Everything's better with bacon. Hey, let me put it this way. Everything's better with bacon, but you don't put bacon on every meal, right? You don't have bacon with everything. Bacon's special.
I don't think everything is better with bacon, Michael Collins.
Well,
I disagree with you. I don't think everything is better with bacon.
You may come to my house for a little while.
Pretty much everything is good with bacon.
Let me transition this
Listen, golf is spectacular with Tiger Woods. Golf is spectacular with Tiger Woods. And you can see the effect that he still has by the buzz that's around here, by the way that the people and the patrons are acting around him. You can see the way that the players are acting when they're walking around. Yeah, but you asked me, would golf be okay without Tiger Woods? And my answer to that is yes.
And that's fair. I want to transition here, Stephen A. I want to bring you in, and I'm just curious, do you think there's any athlete that has meant more to their sport than Tiger Woods does to golf?
No.
That's a challenging thing to say. I would tell you no.
You know what, Michael? I'm going to have Stephen A. go first, and then Michael, you piggyback.
She asked Stephen A., Michael Collins. Right. She asked Stephen A., okay? She asked Stephen A., Moses. She asked Stephen A., okay? Here's the deal. I would tell you no.
Stephen A., hold that thought. Tiger Woods is at the podium, gentlemen. We'll have all the reaction after.
Okay.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to see all of you here today. And it is a very special pleasure to welcome back to our media center our 5-time Masters champion and the most recent inductee to the World Golf Hall of Fame. Tiger, it is great seeing you, and we appreciate the time you're spending with us today.
Thank you, Rob. It's hard to believe it's been 25 years since I won here, but it's great to be back and be able to feel the energy and the excitement of the patrons again. I hadn't seen them since when I won, and obviously we had a COVID year, and I missed last year. So it was neat to feel that energy out there on the golf course yesterday, and hopefully this storm blows out of here, and we get to have a great week.
Thank you. Well, we joined in celebrating your 25th anniversary of your first win because it was a transformational win, and it changed forever the world of golf. So looking back, it's quite special. Well, last year at the 2021 tournament, all of us missed Tiger Woods greatly. And you and your family were in our thoughts and prayers for the next 14 months, hoping for a complete and total recovery. It is great seeing you here today. So we will now open it up to questions. Jimmy Roberts.
Hi, Tiger. Over here.
Yep.
Nice to see you. Are you surprised at all where you are right now physically? I mean, I think a lot of people are surprised that you're here and giving it a try. How about you?
I've worked hard. My team has been unbelievable. I've been lucky to have had great surgeons and great PTs and physios that have worked on me virtually every day. And we've worked hard to get to this point, to get to this, an opportunity to walk the grounds, test it out, and see if I can do this. It's been a tough year, and a lot of stuff that I had to deal with, and I don't wish on anyone, but here we are, and Masters Week, and being able to play and practice, and for me, more importantly, to say thank you to all the guys that have texted me, FaceTimed me, and called me, and given me all their support. To see them in person and to say thank you, it has meant a lot.
Doug?
Tiger, when will you decide whether you can play, and what determines that?
Where's
Over
Doug?
here, sorry.
Sorry, Doug. Where are you at?
Somewhere around here, far right.
Yep, they got you.
Yep. When will you decide whether for sure you're playing, and what will determine that?
Well, as of right now, I feel like I am going to play. As of right now, I'm going to play 9 more holes tomorrow. My recovery has been good. I've been very excited about how I've recovered each and every day, and that's been the challenge. That's why I came up here and tested out for 27 holes, because we played the par 3 course. Charlie couldn't help himself. So was able to play 27 holes that day, and at home testing it. But it's the recovery, how am I going to get all the swelling out and recover for the next day? And my team has been fantastic and worked very hard. So we've got another day of 9 more holes, and then come game time.
Jim?
Hey, Tiger. Good to see you. How much physical pain do you have to endure playing golf?
Yeah, there is. There is, each and every day. Obviously, given what I've gone through with my back, and then obviously with my right leg. Yeah, there is each and every day.
How much does that take away from your ability to play, or have you just mentally overcome it, or have to overcome it every time you play?
It's been one of those things where I've had to endure pain before, and this is different. Obviously, this is a lot more traumatic, what has transpired to my leg. We've had to put a lot of work, but as I said, I'm very thankful to my surgeons and my PTs and physios that have worked on me and have given me this opportunity to play golf.
Michael Bangberg?
Thank you. Tiger, to go back to Sunday 2019 for a minute, you got 12 right behind you. You made an incredible par there. Started to rain a little bit. You go to 13T. Your foot looks like maybe you're trying to hit a cut shot. I'm not sure. Your foot slipped a little bit, and then the ball winds up in the middle of the fairway. And I'm wondering if you ever got to see what the ball actually did.
No, I didn't. If you look at what Jeff sets it up each and every year, and he moves that tee over maybe another step. And we look at everyone, there's nowhere else to go. So everyone who has played there has teed off virtually from the same spot. It's like digging into a batter's box. And it's sandy there. And there's really very little light that gets back in there, that area. So the grass is never, as pristine as it is anywhere else on a golf course. And we're all hitting from the same spot. And it's not uncommon to see guys slip there. And I did. I slipped and I hit it off the toe and hit a toe draw right around the corner.
Draw. It didn't go over the trees?
Nope, I had toe draw.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Ann?
Hey, Tiger, great to see you.
Yep.
How agonizing has it been just making the decision for you? Just talking about just the decision-making process.
It's just a matter of what my body's able to do the next day and the recovery. That's the hard part, is that, yes, we push it and try and recover the best we possibly can, that night, and then see how it is the next morning. Then all the activations and going through that whole process again, and you warm it up, and then you warm it back down, or test it out, and then you got to warm it, cool it back down. Then you got to do that day in and day out, and it gets agonizing and teasing because of simple things that that I would normally just go do. It would take now a couple hours here and a couple hours there to prep and then wind down. So activity time to do what I want to do. It adds more time on both sides of it, pre and post. So that has been, it's not like something I haven't done, but the times have gotten longer on both sides.
Daniel?
Tiger,
Hey,
you've said countless times throughout your career that you don't enter a golf tournament unless you think that you can win it. So the question is simple. Do you think you can win the Masters this week?
I do.
And what have you seen in your preparation that leads you to believe that?
Well, I can hit it just fine. And I don't have any qualms about what I can do physically from a golf standpoint. It's now walking is the hard part. You know, this is normally not a easy walk to begin with. Now, given the conditions that my leg is in, it gets a little bit more difficult. And that's 72 holes is a long road, and it's going to be a tough challenge and a challenge that I'm up for.
Jeff?
Tiger, just on that topic, what part of the golf course is most difficult in terms of walking? Do you worry about slippage? And just also your assessment of the changes in the golf course.
Well, I've don't worry about slipping. I've got medals in, so I don't have to worry about that. Even with the rain, doesn't really concern me. Some of the changes are some are more drastic than others. Others are very subtle. Resurfacing on 3, but that's they've resurfaced every green since I've been here. But what they did on 11 is interesting, just from the standpoint that we're further back, and then we thought that Larry My shot is gone. Now it's really gone. Them raising the green up even more so on the right-hand side, and we're further back, so we're more prone to hit the ball over there anyway. So now it's a harder and more difficult pitch. Other than that, the softening of 13, I understand it. Trying to add a couple new pins, which they tend to do here. Over the years, I've never seen them take away pins. They always add it to areas in which they can grow more pins and more hole locations options for the committee to give us as a challenge. But I've never seen them take away pins, and so 13 kind of fits into what their philosophy has been here.
Patrick?
Tiger, hi there. It's wonderful to see you, and thanks very much for your time. From that day early last year to this day, and this of all weeks, when you reflect on all you've been through, on all you've overcome, what words do you choose today to now reflect on these 14 months?
Thankful. Yeah, very, very thankful. Thankful for just everyone's support, everyone who's been involved in my process of the work that I've put in each and every day, the people I work with, my whole team, and just as I was alluding to, all the support from the players out here. We're a big fraternity, and the amount of texts and FaceTimes and calls I've gotten over the past year have meant a lot. And to see some of the guys, at home, whether I've been out at Medalist, out there playing, see them again, or to have seen them yesterday in person, and just say thanks. I saw a few of them at the Hall of Fame induction, but I'm sure as the week goes on, I'll see more of them. So it's been great. Tonight is the night of all nights to see all the guys again and listen to all the chiding and the stuff that I can't ever repeat here, and we don't ever repeat. But the fact that what we're able to say to each other is just awesome.
Ian, third row on the left.
Hi, Tiger. If someone had told you in the first few days or weeks after your accident that you would be able to compete in this Masters with the expectation of winning it, what would you have said or thought?
Well, at that time, I was still in a hospital bed, and I was that for the next 3 months. And so I never left that hospital bed, even if it's in my living room, for 3 months. So that was a tough road, and still had more surgeries ahead of me. To say that I was going to be here playing and talking to you guys again, it would have been very unlikely.
Steve?
Tiger, what are the shoes that you're wearing now give you that the shoes that you were wearing before don't?
Well, I have very limited mobility now. I just, with the rods and plates and screws that are in my leg, I needed something different, something that allowed me to be more stable. And and that's what I've gone to. So it's Nike's been fantastic over the years of providing me with equipment and work, and we have worked. We've been working on trying to find something to allow me to do this and swing again. And we're still going to continue doing it, and hopefully we'll have something soon.
Mr. Murray?
Tiger, you spoke in the Bahamas in November about being at peace with what the future held, because you came back, you won here, you scaled that mountain. What's been the main motivation to do it again, to put yourself through it all again?
Well, I love competing, and I feel like if I can still compete at the highest level, I'm going to. And if I feel like I can still win, I'm going to play. But if I feel like I can't, then you won't see me out here. You guys know me better than that. And as Dee asked earlier, I don't show up to an event unless I think I can win it. So that's the attitude I've had, and there'll be a day when it won't happen, and I'll know when that is. But physically, the challenge this week is I don't have to worry about the ball striking or the game of golf. It's actually just the hills out here. That's going to be the challenge, and it's going to be a challenge of a major marathon.
John Hopkins?
Are there any particular weather conditions that would make it more difficult for you to decide to play?
Oh, I mean, kind of just in general with my body, anytime it's cold, it doesn't feel very good. I think anyone who's in this room who's older than me can probably attest to that.
I am.
Mr. Axelrod?
I just want to follow up on this notion of your rehab process.
Mm-hmm.
If you hadn't been able to go, would you be satisfied with your career here and your career in general, and how much of that idea, I still got work to do here, was fueling the rehab process?
No, I feel like I could, if everything went well, if my surgeons gave me a chance, and then my PTs and with my surgeons, they all said that I could do this again. Now, it's up to me to endure the pain and all that. But I felt like I could still do this, and I don't know how many more years I can do this. I was very fortunate to have come back in the end of 17 when I did, because I didn't know if I could still do it again at that time. But again, my surgeons gave me an opportunity, and my PTs did the same. And this is kind of the same scenario, but a little bit more severe than it was back then.
But if you couldn't have, would have you been satisfied?
Yes, I would have. Yeah, I think 82 is a pretty good number, and 15 is not too bad either.
Bob Herrick?
Tiger?
Yeah.
When you were here last week, would that have been your first time back since the 2020 Masters?
Yes, that was. It was, yeah.
So given all you've been through, was it at all emotional coming here, even on a practice day? And how much did having Charlie play with you add to the whole experience?
Yeah, it meant a lot to both of us. Yeah, he got a chance to play, right before the 20 Masters, and he's grown a lot since then. Become a lot better player. So it was fun to see the changes in him, and for us as a family to go out here and then have Robbie out here and JT, who's like my younger brother and Charlie's older brother, for us to come out here and just play together, and we just had a blast, and couldn't ask for a better day temperature-wise. I mean, it was just a perfect day, and it was fun for me as a parent to see him enjoy it. And then just trying to remind him, I say, these putts break a little bit more than they do back home. Florida greens are not quite like Augusta. So a couple of the putts, it was pretty funny. He says, just outside left? I said, no, it's more like 3 feet outside left. So then we had a great time. And as I said, it was a blast. And for me to have that opportunity again, as Ian was asking earlier, whether I, a year ago, would I have said yes to that, it was a totally different scenario.
Mr. Lipton? I think
Yes,
back.
hi. Is it working? Is it working? Yeah. Would it be easier for you to go out early Thursday and later on Friday than vice versa in terms of recovery? And secondly, you've been used to adulation throughout your career, and understandably so. Have you ever felt the sense of warmth and reverence you got on that practice round yesterday? Because it seemed to be remarkable, the outpouring of warmth in your direction.
As I said earlier, the last time I'd had patrons out here was on that Sunday when I won, and it felt a little bit like that. Not quite as frenzied as that was. That was a little bit different. That was on a Sunday of a championship Sunday, but yesterday was incredible. Everyone loves Freddy's. That's why they all came out. So.
John?
Tiger, what do the doctors tell you about moving forward? Is this as good as you're going to feel, or will it get better?
My movement probably will not get much better. Will I feel better? Yes, I will. I'm going to get stronger, and the whole limb will get stronger. But as far as movement, I probably not much more. I'm so limited with the hardware in there. I won't get much more.
Mr. Fields?
Tiger, when you recovered came back from the spinal fusion, you were asked, and you would respond about Ben Hogan and how, the severity of what he went through after his crash. Are you drawing any inspiration now from his story, given that, like you, his problem really wasn't ball striking, but just surviving the walk?
Yeah, it's, what he went through pre-round. Obviously, he didn't have the technology that we have now, but the amount of hot tubs that he would have to take, pre-round, post-round, in the middle of the night, just to be able to get up and swing a club the next day, I certainly appreciate that. And, the treatments have gotten so much better, and I'm very thankful for that. Because if the treatments hadn't gotten any, if I had to go through it, with my accident, given what had happened to me during his era, I wouldn't be playing this week. That's for sure.
Gary?
Tiger, given your leg, what are the more troublesome lies for you? Are they uphill, downhill, or side hill? And are there certain parts? Are there certain parts of some fairways that you might try to avoid that you wouldn't have thought twice about a couple of years ago?
No, if I'm in the fairway, it's all good. So the only flat spots here, as we know, are the 18 tee boxes. Other than that, there's nothing flat about this place. And if I have to worry about it being in 14 fairways, I'll take that any day.
Todd Lewis in the back left.
Tiger, I know you're here feeling you can win. But given the challenges you have with your body in the competitive arena now, these new ones, and the challenges that you have overcome, how do you define a successful week here at the Masters?
Well, I think that the fact that I was able to get myself here to this point is a success. And now that I am playing, now everything is focused on how do I get myself into a position where I'm on that back nine on Sunday with a chance. Just like I did, a few years ago.
Paul Dowdy, we have time for possibly two more questions. Paul?
Thank you. Tiger, over here. Two real quick, if you don't mind. Do you have a personal tradition unlike any other here? And if this place were flat, would your decision be a lot easier?
Well, any traditions? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one. I've been coming here since '95, and so as far as a flat golf course, if it was back home at Medalist, it'd been a hell of a lot easier. Yes.
Is it Richard Castillo?
Yes, sir. Hey, Tiger.
Yeah.
Billy Horschel talked about saying that you wanted to walk away. Coming here and getting yourself to this position was all about walking away from the game on your own terms. Has that been a motivation for you to compete and possibly win here at Augusta?
It has, and when I decide to hang it up when I feel like I can't win anymore, and that'll be it. But I feel like I can still do it, and I feel like I still have the hands to do it. The body's moving good enough. I've been in worse situations and played at won tournaments. Now, haven't been in situations like this where I've had to walk and endure. When I'm going to try and endure, that's going to be different. It's a different challenge. But my back surgeries that I've had before and the stuff I had to play through, even going back to the U.S. Open when my leg was a little bit busted, those are all times that I can draw upon that I was successful. How I've learned how to block things out and focus on what I need to focus on, and that's certainly going to be the challenge this week.
Well, Tiger, no matter what your decision is, it has been a joy to
Thanks,
have
Rob.
you back at Augusta, and best of luck to you.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
having me.
being with us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Michael Collins, it sure is a joy, and this is why we love Tiger Woods. Tiger just spoke live from Augusta saying, as of right now, I feel like I'm going to play, and my favorite quote, I do think that I can win the Masters this week. Michael Collins, talk to me.
There's nothing better than hearing Tiger going, right now, I'm playing. And if I'm here playing, I'm going to go ahead and try and win. So he just told you, too, his game is fantastic right now. And in a position, his ball striking is good enough to win. So if his ball striking is good enough to win, then it's all about walking in that leg and back. So temperature and weather are going to be the two factors on Tiger Woods this week.
Yeah, Michael, how realistic is that, him winning the Masters?
Ooh. If it was anyone other Woods, we'd be laughing. We would literally laugh. Okay, you got a chance to win. Okay. Okay. Ian Poulter. Okay. Anybody else? There's no chance whatsoever. But this is a man who has 5 green jackets. Yep. Yes, they've made some changes to the golf course. But that being said, you could tell with Tiger Woods just his comfort level at this place. He knows where he can hit it and where he can miss it. I think 11 might be the one hole where he knows the shots that he used to play there, if he bailed out to the right, aren't there anymore. Yeah. But then it becomes all about short games, and his magic around these greens has been spectacular. So for Tiger Woods, he feels like if he hits fairways and greens and just gives himself opportunities, then guess what? Everyone else will make mistakes. That's exactly what happened in 2019.
The first time he won the Masters 25 years ago, he did say, I asked you, what would be a success for Tiger? And what did you tell me, Michael? He did say he did have the wherewithal to, to be able to say being here is a success. But he wants to be competing Sunday, of course. So you were right. Michael Collins, thank you so much. We'll have much more reaction from Augusta after this quick break. I know Stephen A. has plenty to say as well. We'll be right back. This is First Take. Welcome back to First Take. Breaking news. Tiger Woods just live from Augusta, and he said as of right now he feels that he is going to play, also adding he does think he can win the Masters this week. Tiger Woods is back. Stephen A. Smith, what was your reaction to that entire press conference?
Well, I was happy that he announced that he's going to play. I mean, he's Tiger Woods, for crying out loud. When it comes to the sport of golf, he's who we want to see most. There is no denying that. That's number one. Number two, him saying that he believes he can win, that doesn't mean anything to me. I've never heard Tiger Woods say, I believe I can lose. I believe I will lose. That's not who he is. He's a winner. And so because of that, obviously, if he's going to step on the course, he expects to be competitive. He expects to be in a position where he ultimately can win. Do I believe he's going to be? Do most people believe he's going to be? No, but we don't care. We're just happy to see him back, healthy enough to be able to play, because he almost lost his life in a serious car accident in L.A. And so we recognize that. We understand what he's up against. But the fact that he believes that he can win tells us, or should tell us, that he believes he's healthy enough to compete to win. And that speaks volumes, because that means that he has definitely made, if not a full recovery, a significant recovery from an accident that nearly took his life.
The fact that he could even take the course, like Stephen A. said, is a somewhat of a miracle in itself, because here's someone who almost could have potentially lost their life going down an embankment in Southern California, and now all of a sudden there sounds like a real strong possibility that we're getting ready to see him tee off in the Masters and make a run at winning another tournament. Now, whether or not he wins or whatever the case is, we don't know, but anytime an athlete feels like he can get it done, I'm rolling with that in every which way, because how can you count Tiger Woods out? Like I said before, he's been in this situation before because he's had obstacles throughout his life, both on and off the court, or on and off the course, when people felt like, oh, we've seen the last of the great Tiger Woods, and now all of a sudden, here we are getting ready to potentially watch Tiger Woods play golf again. I mean, like literally again, with screws and plates and all sorts of things in his leg to try to just get him out there on the course. And he's been able to do it in whatever practice rounds he's been playing in, the 9 holes that he said he's going to play tomorrow, the other opportunities that he's been warming up and teeing off on. Now we get a chance potentially to see him go full throttle.
Screws and all that. He did say he will be able to, 1 second, Stephen, he will get stronger, he will feel better, but he will never have more movement essentially than he does right now. Stephen A?
That's right, and that's a good thing to point out, Molly. The other thing, and Keyshawn will appreciate this, let's just call this what it is. On the emotional side, in terms of a feel-good moment, it's great to see him on the course. But once he's on the course, here's all we really care about when it comes to Tiger Woods. You gonna catch Jack Nicklaus? That's really what it is. I mean, he's got 15 majors. We never thought, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think that he was gonna catch 15, because at 14, I thought he was done, because we had seen enough where he was struggling so much. We said it ain't gonna happen, and then 2019, he turns around, he wins the daggone Masters. So we get all of that, right? Now we're at a point where you got 3 majors to go to tie the record for all time. You got 4 to go to eclipse it. We really don't care, other than him being healthy, and being able to actually compete and play. We don't care about all those other tournaments. We want the majors. We want Tiger in the majors. We want to see if he's going to catch that all-time record. That's what we want. And I think that's the reason he's playing. I think that's because that's what he wants to go for. It's no other reason for him to continue to play the sport. He's got all the money. He's achieved everything. He's a Hall of Famer. He's arguably the greatest, or not arguably to me and most people. So he's the greatest that ever did it. We want to see him catch that 18th major or 19th to eclipse the record.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't. That's what it's about. Maybe he doesn't catch the record and eclipse it. But I personally believe he got one more in him. I don't know when that one more is coming, because he's relatively young for golf, man. Them dudes is, they kept playing.
Yeah, he's 48.
That's 46? Relatively young, and he only really got 3 more to tie and 4. It's not like he can't catch him, but I don't think he will. But it's not like it's out just so far out there that it's impossible.
Yeah, if any sport, it's golf. Yeah, he has 45-1 odds to win this time around. Go ahead, Stephen A.
I would say before 2019, I never thought I thought it was over for him. I thought it was over, Key. And then he won in 2019. So I'm going to roll with Key on this. I'm going to say he probably got one more in him. Let's see what he's got in a couple of years to come, assuming he's healthy enough to be on the course. He's probably got one more in him. But we want him. Could you imagine if Tiger Woods got 3 more? And I'm talking about soon. Then the world would be transfixed on if he going to get number 18. But he got to get, 16, 17 first,
Stephen A., let me ask you this, and I asked you this earlier, and then obviously we went live to the press conference. Is there any athlete that means more to their sport than Tiger Woods does to golf?
I don't think so, but I will tell you this. I don't think we give Serena Williams enough credit and love in that.
Exactly where my mind went.
To that specific question. We talk about her greatness, and we talk about, the 23 Grand Slam titles and all of this other stuff. We get all of that, okay? We understand that. But what her and their family had to endure, you know, what we saw from lately from the movie King Richard, and I'm going to bring up Will Smith in that positive light. Don't get me started with what happened at the Oscars. I was on vacation. Don't even take me off like making me bring that up, okay? But on a positive note, we saw what the man did in the movie King Richard. I tweeted before he embarrassed himself and black folks. Before he did that, I tweeted, he better win this damn Oscar.
Yeah.
And sure, because he deserved it. And sure enough, he absolutely positively did it. But Venus and Serena and what they have meant to the sport of tennis, what they have meant to young ladies everywhere, the level of greatness that they have put forth, what they had to endure. I mean, when you think about some of the things other athletes have had to endure, I want y'all to step back for a second. Key knows what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, Molly. Without even repeating it, the stuff that they had to deal with,
Yeah.
and specifically Serena, the level of vitriol that was aimed in their direction, and how they went out there tournament after tournament after tournament, year after year after year, being one of, if not the greatest player in the world. And specifically right now, I'm talking about Serena. I would make the argument that Serena Williams, I mean, when we talk about what people have had to endure, I don't know if anyone outside of Muhammad Ali himself had to deal with more than Serena Williams had to deal with. And that's why I would put her in that conversation right on par with Tiger as it
co-sign that,
pertains to
Stephen
their
A.
significance to the world of sports.
Molly, rephrase that question to me because
Okay,
Stephen A.
No. Basically, what I asked, and I honestly
I got
asked
distracted with Will Smith.
Yeah, I got
No. But Keyshawn, in all honesty, I asked that question with the Williams sisters in the back of my mind. So I asked, is there any athlete that has meant more to their sport than Tiger does to golf?
In the history of a sport, I would say it's certainly the Williams sisters. There's no question about it. Everything that Stephen A. said, because when you look at the sport of tennis, they